Hello everyone, welcome back to another live stream. So this is the second part of uh, PYQ discussion of December 2020 UGC NET paper 2 English. And in the first part we had discussed questions from 1 to 50, and now we are going to discuss the rest of the questions, that is 51 to 90, because the last 10 questions are dealing with reading passages which we have already taken up as a separate video. So if you haven't come across any of the videos that I have mentioned, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like this live stream, and go to our playlist section. You can find two playlists there. First is PYQ series, where, like I said, I'm discussing the previous year questions of UGC NET exam. And in that, you can find the discussions of PYQ papers, including this one. And there's another playlist called Reading Comprehension PYQ. And in that playlist, we deal with exclusive reading passage question and answers. So, to my channel where we are discussing everything related to English literature. And let's start this video with question number 51. And these are all statement questions. Okay, we have been discussing statement questions in the first part of this PYQ discussion. So we'll continue. Which of these following statements are true about Pidgin and Creole? There are four statements. Statement A, Pidgin begins as Creole and eventually becomes the first language of a speech community. Statement B, Creole begins as Pidgin and eventually becomes the first language. C, Pidgin is simple but a rule governed developed for communication, whereas Creole is free from grammatical rule. Statement D, Pidgin and Creole evolved successively out of a situation where speakers of mutually unintelligible language develop a shared language for communication. Which of the following two statements is true? Don't forget to like this video and let me know your answer in the comment section. The right answer is option B. So for us, B and D is right. So Creole begins as Pidgin and eventually becomes the first language of a speech community. And Pidgin and Creole evolved successively out of a situation where speakers of mutually unintelligible language develop a shared communication. So do note these 2 points. Next question. Which two of the following words are borrowed into English from Czech? Pistol, robot, sauna, and coach. The right answer is pistol and robot are two words that are borrowed from Czech. So option A is our right answer. Next question. Which two of the following meanings are admissible for the following sentences? You do not know how good oysters taste. So what is actually the meaning that we get from this sentence? Statement A, you do not know that oysters taste good as food. Statement B, you do not know how the oysters taste when cooked. Statement C, you do not know what the oysters taste when they eat. Statement D, you do not know how good the oysters taste when they eat. So which two sentences are the right meaning of this particular sentence? You do not know how good the oysters taste. So definitely we're talking about the food. So A should be right. You do not know that oysters taste good as food. And along with that, D is also right. You do not know how good the oysters taste. So A and D are right, which means our right answer is option A. Next question. Which two of the following works are Daniel Defoe's historical narrative? A. History of Rebellion, B. Meditation on a Broomstick, C. Journal of the Plague Year, D. Memories of a Cavalier. Which are the two historical narratives written by Daniel Defoe? The right answer is A Journey of a Plague Year and Memoirs of a Cavalier. So C and D. Option D is our right answer. Next question. Which two of the following are non-fictional works by Peter Ackroyd? A. Escape from Earth. B. The Great Fire of London. C. The English Ghost. D. English Music. So you have to be familiar with writers and their works. And here, Escape from Earth and English Ghost are the two non-fictional works by Peter Ackroyd. So that means our right answer is option B. Next question. Which two of the following were published in the year 1859? A. On the Origin of Species. B. A Tale of Two Cities. C. Alice in Wonderland. D. Silas Marner. Let me know. On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. And Silas Marner is by George Eliot. But which two of these works have been published in the year 1859? So it's a bit tricky if you don't know the year, publishing year. The right answer is these two. Origin of Species and Tale of Two Cities. So option A is our right answer. Next question. In his self-reliance, which two qualities that Emerson referred to as chancellors of God? A. Truth. B. Cause. C. Spirit. D. Effect. It's a question from American literature. I hope you are answering in the comment section. The right answer here is B and D. So, cause and effect are the two qualities that Emerson referred to as Chancellor of God in his work Self-Reliance. Next question. Which two of the following are part of Virginia Woolf's collection of autobiographical essay? A. A Will to Word It. B. A Sketch of the Past. C. A Faint Hue of the Past. D. Am I a Snob? The right answer is B and D are the works of Virginia Woolf. So that means option D is our right answer. Next question. Which two of the following novels are part of Paul Auster's New York trilogy? A. The Book of Illusion. B. Ghost. C. The Locked Room. D. Winter Journal. So now you know how important all the works are. And in this particular question, Ghost is by Paul Auster and The Locked Room is also written by him. So our answer will be B and C, option C. Next question. Joy Carries the Horse Mouth, considered by many to be his masterpiece, is part of a trilogy of novel. Which two titles from the following list belong to this trilogy? A. Isa Saved. B. To Be a Pilgrim. C. Herself Surprised. D. Charlie is My Darling. These are all PYQs. So make a note of all these writers and their works and the trilogy and everything. And here, To Be a Pilgrim and Herself Surprised are and The Horse's Mouth. These three form the trilogy by Joyce Carey. So B and C, option B is our right answer. Next question. Which two of the following are the interlude in Galsworthy's The Forsyte Saga? A. To Let. B. Indian Summer of a Forsyte. C. Awakening. D. In Chancery. I know this is one. Indian Summer of a Foresight is one, but there are three options with B in it. And Awakening is also a part of the Foresight saga. So B and C. Option C is our right answer. Next question. Which two poems in the following list are odes written in the Horatian manner? A. Ben Jonson to the immortal memory and friendship of that noble pair, Sir Lucius Carey and Sir H. Morrison. B. Andrew, I think it is Marvel, okay. This M. Andrew Marvel upon Cromwell's return from Ireland. C. Alexander Pope, Ode on Solitude. D. Alfred Tennyson, Ode on the Death of the Duke of Wellington. Which two are Horatian odes? Andrew Marvel's is definitely a Horatian ode. Two options with B in it. And Alexander Pope, the Ode on Solitude is also a Horatian ode. So option B is our right answer. Next question. Which two of the following poems by Seamus Heaney come under his Bog poems? A. Personal Helicon. B. Punishment. C. Early Purges. D. Tolerant Man. These two are the right answer. Punishment and Torrent Man. So B and D. Option D is our right answer. So we are discussing a lot of author and the works, especially trilogies. Make a note of it if you don't know. Next question. In which two of the following plays does the blind seer Theresis appear? A. Oedipus the King. B. Agamemnon. C. Antigone. D. Oedipus at Colonus. Greek plays. And I know this one. Oedipus the King, and he also appears in Antigone. So A and C. The right answer is option B. Next question. This is a question that appeared in 2026 June exam. It's a PYQ. Which two of the following play were written by John Osborne? A. Look Back in Anger. B. Luth. C. Funeral Games. D. Deja Vu. This question appeared exactly the same in June 2026. And the right answer is Look Back in Anger and Deja Vu. A and D. Option C is our right answer. So now we move on to match the following. Okay, so if you are with me, don't forget to like this video and let's match the following institutions and location. Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institution. Let's see, Indian Institute of Advanced Study, National Library of India and Nehru Memorial Museum Library. And the options are way over here. But I'm just letting you see because we'll be coming back and we'll be matching it. Okay, let's see. So Bhandarkar Oriental Institution, that is in Pune. And Indian Institute of Advanced Study is in Shimla. National Library of India is in Kolkata, and Nehru Memorial Museum and Library is in New Delhi. Okay. So that means A4, B1, C3 and D2. Let's see if we have that option here. A4, two options are there. A4, B1, two options are there. C3 and D2, C is our answer. Next question. Author and work. And this is fairly easy. Ferdinand de Saussure wrote Course in General Linguistics. And I also know Derrida wrote of Grammatology. So A3, C2 A3, C2, we have only one option. So Edward Sapir wrote language and Roman Jakobson wrote two aspects of language and two types of aphasic disturbances. Option C is our right answer. Next, terms and theorists. Again, it's not that difficult if you have a basic knowledge. Heteroglossia is by Bakhtin. Okay, 8-3, two options are there. Let's see, heterotropia, grand narrative interpolation. I know that grand interpolation is by Althusser, D2. 8-3, D2 is option C. Okay, so you don't have to know the entire thing. Even if you know just one or two, you can match the rest of it. So I know interpolation is by Althusser. Grand narrative is by Jean-Francois Lyotard and heterotropia is by Foucault. Next question, critiques and essay. I know Arnold wrote The Study of Poetry, C1. There are three options with C1. Let's see. I know Elsie Knight wrote Restoration Comedy, Reality and Myth. And Lionel Trilling, Sense of Past. A.C. Bradley, Poetry for Poetry's Sake. C is our right answer. And okay, we have to come here. Another, quite a lot of maths the following for us to do. I hope you are here with me. So, okay. Let's see. Again, author work and After Amnesia is by G.N. Davy. 8-3. There are two options with 8-3. Indianization of English. And that is by B.B. Kachru. B4. 8-3, B4. Mask of Conquest is by Gauri Vishwanath and Colonial Transaction Harish Trivedi. Option C is our answer. Next question, words borrowed and source language. Let's have a look at it. Caste is something that was borrowed from Portuguese. A3 and beef is coming from French. Two options with A3, B2. Blunder is actually borrowed from Norse and flak is by German. D2. Okay. Again, option C is our answer. Next, concept and theorist. This is fairly easy. Competence and performance, Noam Chomsky. Signified, so sure. Metaphor, metonymy, Roman Jakobson. Content expression is by Louis Helmsel. So let's see, A1, B4, and there is only one option with that. Even if you only know this one, A1, we can get the right answer. Next question, Pablo Neruda. I think it's Under My Skin, A1. Do solve it with me if you're watching it. Let's see. Pablo Neruda didn't write Under My Skin. That was my mistake. He actually wrote memoirs. And it is Graham Greene who wrote A Sort of Life. And Doris Lessing wrote Under My Skin. And Vladimir Nabokov is Peak Memory. So A3 and B4. Let's see if they have that. A3, B4, two options. And what does if we say Doris Lessing wrote Under My Skin? C1. So option D is our right answer. Next, we have to match the novel with character, and all the novels are by Charles Dickens. So let's see. Miss Dolly Barnaby Rudge, 8-2, and we already have our option. So Little Dorrit is Mrs. Flintwich, and Nicholas Nickleby, Miss La Creevy, and our mutual friend is Mrs. Boffin. Right answer is option C. Next question. This is fairly easy. I know George Herbert wrote The Caller. C4. And there is only one option with C4. You see, even if we don't know or we forgot the rest of the poets and their poem, we can easily get it. If we have the luck, we can easily get it with the option itself. So, John Donne wrote A Valediction of Weeping. Andrew Marvell, The Garden. George Herbert, The Caller, and Henry Vaughan, The Retreat. Option D is our answer. Next question. Which of the following is the correct sequence of stage in an empirical research? Okay, now we have reached the chronological part of the question. And let's see. First, you need a hypothesis, and then you need to collect the data. So BA. First, you need hypothesis, then you collect the data, then you analyze, then you validate, you find your findings. So option B is our answer. Arrange the following critical works in the chronological order of publication. Preface. This is actually a previous year question paper. Same question we discussed in June 2020 PYQ. So preface actually came in 1800. Defense of Rhyme came in 1603. Life of Cowley by Johnson, 1779, and Frontiers of Criticism is by T.S. Eliot, 1956. So this would come first. Would come first, and then followed by this, and then 1800 and 1956, 3 and 4. So our option should be B, C, A, D. B, C, A, D. Option C is our answer. Next question. Again, a chronology. Aspect of theory. No, sorry. Modern English usage came in 1926. It's by H.W. Fowler. Proposal for perfecting the English language is actually by Jonathan Swift in 1712. Usage and abusage came in 1942. And by Eric Partridge, an American dictionary by Noah Webster in 1828. Okay, so this is 1828. So according to the chronology, this would come first. Option B would come first, and then D. B, D, A, C. Option C is our answer. Next question. Autobiography of an Unknown Indian, My Experiment with Truth, Prison, and My Story. Autobiography of an Unknown Indian is by Neeraj C. Chaudhary, and it came in 1951. My Experiment with Truth, Gandhiji, it came in around 1925-29. Prison Chocolate Diaries by Nayanthara Sehgal, and that came in 1954. And My Story is the autobiography of Kamala Das, 1973. So B, A, C, D. Option C is our answer. Next question, 19th century magazines. London Magazine started its publication in 1732. The Quarterly Review in 1809. Forgive my handwriting, I'm writing using my finger, that's why it's looking so messy and big. The Spectator came in 1711 and Edinburgh came in 1802. Like it started the publication. Okay, I'm just mentioning the starting year of the publication. So CA. These are the years that I actually got, but the right answer is actually option C that is given. Edinburgh, Quarterly, London. So it is in the opposite direction. The next question. Arrange the following in the chronological publication. These are works. Past and Present by Thomas Carlyle, published in 1843. Leviathan by Thomas Hope, 1651. Unto This Last is by John Ruskin, 1860. Life of Samuel Johnson is by James Boswell, 1791. So this will come first. B and then D, A, C. Option A is our right answer. Next question. Okay, so White Tiger is by Arvind Adiga. This came in 2008. A Tiger for Malgudi is by R.K. Narayan, and this came in 1980. A Suitable Boy is by Seth, and this came in 1993. And Heat and Dust is by Ruth Prava Jhabwala. This came in 1975. So this is the last one. A should come last. Yeah, D should come first. D, B, C, A. D, B, C, A. Option A is our answer. Next question. There are a lot of chronology questions here. The Pisan Canto is by Ezra Pound and was published in the year 1945. Ballad of Reading Gold is by Oscar Wilde and it is published in 1897. Mourn Not for Adonis by P.B. Shelley. Adonis. That's the elegy for Keats. The full title of Adonis is Mourn Not for Adonis, 1821. Romantic Age. First Step of Parsoness is actually a play, and it went from 1598 to 1602. And the Complaint of Troilus is by Chaucer. I couldn't find the exact timeline, the year, but it's by Chaucer, so you can guess that it's a Middle English work. So obviously that should come first. E should come first, followed by D, and then we have C. Option D is our answer. A, D, C, B, A. Next question, again works. The Unfinished Man is by Ezekiel, published in 1959. Geetanjali is by Tagore, 1913. Jejuri is by Arun Kalodkar, And if I'm not wrong, this was asked as a separate question. Who wrote Jajori? The Scepter Flute is by Sarojini Naidu, 1943. So, Geetanjali should come first, followed by the Sarojini Naidu Scepter Flute, and then it is Unfinished Man. And Jajuri should come last. C should come last, starting with B. B, D, A, C. Option C is our right answer. Next is fairly easy for us. Tempest, Shakespeare. All for Love, Dryden. Walpole, Ben Jonson. School for Scandal, Sheridan. So between Shakespeare and Johnson, Johnson actually comes first. Okay, Ben Jonson comes first. So it should be C first, and then A, Shakespeare. And then Restoration Age. And there, Dryden would come first, followed by Sheridan. So I'm not discussing the year. Even if you don't know the year, this is how we can get to the right answer if we know at least the author and the time period they belong to. So CABD is our answer. And we are finally out of the chronology and we are moving on to assertion reason. Just a few more questions. No piece of research will be the first of its kind. The reliability of progress in knowledge is dependent on the honesty of the researcher. Let me know if it is true or not. So actually assertion and reason is true, but it doesn't explain each other. R does not explain A. Option B is our answer. Next. Culture and cultural meanings are the same all over the world. And that is actually incorrect. It's not the same. We can't say Indian culture is the same as American culture. So this is wrong. It is impossible to divide exclusive cultural block. This is exactly the reason why the first statement is incorrect. So statement 1 is wrong, statement 2 is right. Option D is our answer. Next question. Understanding the meaning of any cultural form would not simply locate it within a specific culture. Okay, this is true. Cultural forms are best studied in terms of how these fit into the intersection between different cultural networks. This is also true. And this explains why this statement is right. So A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation. Option A is our answer. Next question. English today is not only the language we teach, but also the language that enables its learner to become subtle and tough-minded readers. True. And why? Because the students are encouraged to think and analyze the historical and ontological status of the text they read and how best to read them. That is true. That's exactly what we teach. We not only teach the students to learn, but also analyze. And that is exactly why it enabled the reader to become tough-minded reader. So A and R are true, and R explains A. Next question. The instruction at college level. English is still largely the language of administration and jurisdiction in India. D, statement 2 is right, but statement 1 is wrong. So option D is our answer. And like I said before in the starting, the last of these questions, 91 to 100, have already been discussed, and I have put it video under the playlist Reading Comprehension PYQ. So all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to our channel, go to the playlist and look at the playlist titled Reading Comprehension PYQ, because there I deal with exclusively reading passage questions from previous year questions. Okay. So we have already discussed these questions, and that is why I'll be taking your leave now. I hope this PYQ discussion was helpful. And if yes, do consider leaving your opinion or suggestion. And thank you for listening so much. I'll see you in another video. Till then, take care. Thank you.